Hi, Rach. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Now, do you like Rach or Ray for nickname? I feel like I should know this.
Um, Either one. So technically, I was named Rachel to be called Ray, but in my entire
Oh,
life, the only person that's ever called me that is my little sister.
oh,
So
okay.
I'm happy with either one.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't like it when people that don't know me very well call me Rach. I probably shouldn't say that
Oh,
here
okay.
because
No, I get it. Yeah.
now people are going to just start calling me that left and right. But so either one is fine.
You know, on that episode of Friends where Winona Ryder is there and she was
Mm.
went to college with Rachel and then like they were talking about knocking their coconuts together and then she said something she called her Ray Ray, which I thought was really cute. So
Yes,
there's
that's
that
my
too.
little sisters call me that too.
Mhm.
Yeah, Ray Ray.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you were 3 when Kurt died.
Mm, I was.
And so you basically your entire life you've kind of known who Kurt was and you grew up with Kurt in the same way that I grew up with John Lennon.
Mm,
And so you feel a certain way about him. You think, it probably feels like you kind of grew up together. It's this kind of
yeah.
weird sense of how that is. So you're going along in your life and you have a sense of who Kurt is. And then a little documentary comes out called
Mm,
Montage of Heck. And
mm-hmm.
what did you probably were kind of excited. Any new content is good.
Yeah.
So you put this on, and what were you thinking watching this piece of garbage train wreck?
Um, I was really angry, to be honest, because I feel like they misrepresent him so horrifically, um, twist and turn him into something that he wasn't. Um, and the part that I think maybe the most angry, besides the fact that they tried to just paint him as this like stupid junkie that was high all the time and had no appreciation for his life or anything that he had, was that awful sequence that they even animated, that paints him out to be like a sexual predator.
And that
Um,
animation is beautiful, by the way, too. So it's
yeah,
really frustrating because the animation is lovely.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So can I just add here before we go on? There's a time where I think Courtney's being interviewed. I thought it was for Sassy, but where she's talking to somebody on the phone and she's basically going, Kurt, can I just like have my conversation? Why do you need to be involved with this? Like
Mm,
leave or whatever. And Kurt's like, okay, like, but don't you care? Like your family needs you right now. And she's like, talks about feminism. Let me talk to my
let
friend
me
about
have my
feminism.
other life.
Right. And then he
Yeah.
says, don't paint me like that. I don't appreciate that. Do not.
Don't put those words in my mouth. That's
Thank
what
you.
he said. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So we are talking about, we've done episodes on Kurt and feminism and how he cares about, people who can't fight for themselves
Mm,
as much as other people can. And so we know that Kurt cared about that. So to now call him a sexual predator,
mm,
like who
is
would do that to him?
people that don't have any respect or consideration or care for him at all.
So, for
Um,
those people who haven't watched this, can you sort of go through what the story is that they're telling?
yeah.
You don't have to be too graphic or anything about it because I know there's some parts that
Um,
are like, but,
yeah.
just so you know what, you don't need to go watch this if you haven't seen it. We'll give you the scoop, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Here's the cliff notes.
yes,
So essentially, it's a story of Kurt and a few of his friends that would go when they wanted to drink or get high, but mostly drink, I believe, because they would steal alcohol, is what the story says. There was this mentally handicapped girl, in Aberdeen, or in the town that they live in. I don't even know if it specifically says Aberdeen. That they would go and hang out with her, and a couple of them would distract her so that another one could go down in the basement and steal some of her dad's alcohol collection that was down in the basement. And then they would take off and leave her there. And then at a certain point, Kurt decides that he's done with life. He doesn't want to do this anymore, but he's not going to die a virgin. And so he decides he's going to go back to this girl's house and he's going to have sex with her. And they get to the point because he said he doesn't know what to do. And I know there was something about, like she's done it with her cousin or her brother or something before, so she knows what she's doing, and that she took off her pants and it smelled really bad. And so he bolted and then went and laid down on the train tracks and
So,
was waiting for the train to come by and to, end everything. And it went on the track next to him.
and it didn't end.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
now, how do we, why would, let's first talk about why someone, so we'll talk about how we know this is just a story, like,
mhm.
just a work of
Short
fiction,
fiction.
short
Hmm.
fiction in a second. But why do you think someone would want people to believe this about Kurt Cobain? What is the, what's behind this? Why are they putting this out?
Um, because they want control of the narrative about him. They want people to think negatively of him. Um, I mean, that's the short
And they
answer.
want to pretend that he wanted to take his own life when he was a
Well,
teenager, and that he
that too.
had an attempt, and we know that's not true. Kurt Cobain, and I want to make this very clear, there is no documented case where it is proven that he ever tried to take his own life. Not ever.
The
Um,
only instance that he ever even talked about it in any type of seriousness was in the past tense after his stomach issues were taken care of. He talked about that when it was really bad, it made him want to.
and
That's how bad
anyone,
the pain was.
yeah, and anyone who's
But
been in pain, migraines, etc., will,
I'll say, as somebody that
yeah,
suffers with chronic pain, trust and believe I know what he's talking about. I've had the same thoughts. I've said the same things. And look, I'm still here.
yeah, yeah,
Um, I'm not ever going anywhere. Like even on the really bad days, I would never actually. It's just a feeling. It's a sentiment. It's something that you say to express how bad the pain is.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. So people take you seriously.
yeah.
And, when your beautiful girl was born, at that point, I think any real thoughts of not existing on this, earthly plane just go way out the window.
Yeah. No,
Um,
absolutely.
and I mean,
I would never
again,
even consider it.
I think a
Yeah.
lot of people talk about, and especially Gen X, talk about like, oh my God, it was so bad. I wanted to kill myself. Like, you have no idea. Just like,
Yeah.
seriously, I wanted to take my own life. Like, I say it every day, and I'm the least suicidal person on the planet. You guys are
Yep.
stuck with me for a really long time. So, uh, so we have this short piece of fiction that Kurt wrote that, I don't imagine later in life he ever wanted anyone to see, but that's a betrayal that we can talk about sort of as we go talk a little bit more about his journals. But so this movie comes about. Courtney and this Brett Morgan
Mhm.
have decided they're going to what, make some more money off of Kurt. They're going to take some old family videos and anything that can make Kurt look bad, basically. I don't know
Mhm.
if Brett knew that he was specifically making Kurt look bad and wanted to like, did he want to facilitate that, or he just wanted to make some money and Courtney wanted to make
Well,
Kurt look bad?
I think Courtney's the one that wanted to make him look bad. What Brett has always claimed is that this is a work of art, that his goal
Oh
was
yeah,
to show
beautiful.
the real Kurt and his art and
But
all
forget
of
to
that.
tell people that that's a fucking work of fiction, though.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
oh,
kind of a
okay.
key thing to leave out. Yeah. Um, but yeah, because Courtney gave him full access to her storage container, locker, whatever you want to call it, her giant storage place
Mm.
full of all of Kurt's stuff, and let him just go ham. Um, and so that's where he pulled a bunch of tapes and a bunch of journals and a bunch of, anything he could find. Um, and that's where all of the never before seen stuff that's in Montage of Heck came from.
Right. So what does he have to say about his piece of art? What does he have to say that people, I think people like Buzz and Alice Wheeler called him out and said this is not Kurt. And thank God for those two people, because I don't always agree with Buzz, but he will say whatever the fuck he wants, and I really love that about him. It's kind of like
Hmm.
Fat Mike, it's like
Yeah.
you might not always agree with what they're saying, but you agree with the fact that they actually have the balls to come out and say it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
You
because
know,
Buzz did a review of it and said that it's all bullshit.
yeah.
Um, and I know Alice Wheeler, who for anybody that doesn't know was friends with Kurt's ex girlfriend Tracy.
And she's a
And
photographer too, isn't
yeah,
she,
she's a
Alice?
photographer. Took like the very first pictures of Nirvana and all of that. Um, but I can't remember if it was at like the premiere or if it was just like at a press interview event that they had, but she literally like stood up and asked questions and confronted them, and like it turned into a whole thing,
Good for her.
standing up for him. And yeah. But I do have, this is from an article on medium.com, which I can leave um, the link to. We can leave the link to in the description or in the comments. But I'm just going to kind of pick up from where this paragraph is at, but it says, however, should the story have been included in Montage of Heck? Shouldn't there at least have been some indication that it isn't factual? Morgan claims that this is demonstrated through the animation not matching Kurt's words, i.e., he's sitting beside the train track instead of lying on it. If that is the case, then why did he edit out the bits of the audio that indicate it to be a fictional story? Evidently, most of the audience didn't pick up on its subjective nature. Even reviews noting that this animated sequence shared elements of a Raymond Carver story apparently didn't pick up on the fact that it was Kurt trying his hand at short fiction.
It is hilarious that he expected people to note from the animation not matching the words exactly that it was
Most
a
people
work
are
of
not
fiction.
that
Are
perceptive.
you kidding me? Of course not. And like also most people, again, you're reading somebody's journals. They never they never postulate, oh, like, well, I mean, they don't have to postulate because we know that, oh, this is a work of fiction. This is a work of fiction. When somebody says, you're reading somebody's journals, you expect those are their innermost thoughts. Those are things that happened. I mean, it's mind-boggling to me that they would do this. And I mean, there should be a lawsuit, honestly. Like this is
Right.
portraying something that is just
Slanderous.
so slanderous. Now, why did Chris not say anything about this? Because Chris went to school with Kurt. He knows this didn't happen.
I wish I knew. Dave didn't either. The only two people I'm aware of that were friends with Kurt that stood up and defended him after this came out are Buzz and Alice. Chris was in the movie or
Yeah.
document,
Yeah.
the whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So I don't know. I know after Buzz made his statement, like did his review, and it was circulated his opinion. Chris was asked about it in an interview, like his thoughts on what Buzz had to say, and he was basically just like, "Oh, Buzz will be Buzz. We love him anyway." Like,
Okay,
okay,
Chris Novoselic, if you're watching this because you're like bored at home, you're in your eighth fucking shitty band that you like that you've been in, you want to like come say something about why you allowed this shit to go on? How much did you get paid for that? This is ridiculous. It's
yeah,
disgusting. And
no, it is.
I have tried very, very hard through this past year and a half of finding out things about people and what they did to Kurt and how they protected him or more accurately did not protect or help him. And you know what, Novoselic, you have a lot of shit to answer for, and this is like a big part of it.
Yeah,
So if anyone feel free to reach out if you want to come and tell us why you supported something that we, Rachel, just proved is fiction.
yeah.
I mean,
No, and I have even more to prove that it's fiction.
perfect, let's
Kurt's
do it.
own words.
Okay, perfect, please do.
Um, let's see. Let me find the right one here.
And you, Brett Morgan, you should be ashamed of your part in this as well. At least you weren't friends with Kurt.
So this is a letter that Kurt wrote to his friend Jesse. It's in his journals, so anybody can find it and read it for themselves. Um, but we can also have it edited in here if you want. I'm just going to read the whole thing. Jesse,
Perfect.
hello. Believe me, I have purposely been delaying writing you for a while, so when our single finally comes out, I could send it to you as well as a letter. But God, time flies and Sub Pop is broke and full of shit, and I didn't realize how long it's been since I received your letter, so I'm sorry. Hey, cheer up, dude. Your letter sounded like you're kind of bored. I can't wait until you come down for Christmas. It will be the most exciting event this year. We got our test pressings back for the single. I've been waiting for so long that I'm not even looking forward to it coming out. We've refused to do anything else with Sub Pop, even though they really want us to put out an EP. We've decided to put out our own LP. We found a record pressing plant that will press 1,000 records for $1,600. So at 18, no, $8 a piece, we only have to sell about 250 records to get our money back, and the rest is pure profit. Then all we have to do is find a distributor. We played with the Butthole Surfers and then DOA in Seattle. The Melvins are coming back to play a couple shows with us. Chris and Shelly broke up. God, am I relieved. Sorry. Um, she is still living in Tacoma, and Chris is temporarily staying in Aberdeen for free at his mom's. I love the for free.
Yeah.
I'm very content with the relationship Chris, Chad, and I have. We get along great and have a lot of dedicated fun. We are becoming very well received in Seattle and other places in Washington. Promoters call us up to see if we want to play instead of us having to hound people for shows. It's now just a matter of time for labels to hunt us down now that we've promoted ourselves pretty good by doing small remote tours. Okay, enough about the band. I've got a janitor job working with this older guy cleaning 4 restaurants. Pays cash under the table part time. Tracy and I get along just fine as usual. Lately I found myself becoming lazy. I hardly write my stories and I don't work on songs quite as intently as in the past. You know why? Television is the most evil thing on the planet. Go right now to your TV and toss it out the window or sell it and buy a better stereo. I have the flu right now, so I don't feel like um, conjuring up witty literature. My eyes burn when I fart, hot bubble acid ooze squirts from my, and then it cuts off. Lord have mercy, that's so Kurt and it's so adorable. But
Only you
yes,
would say that, Rachel.
I know. Um, After talking about bubble acid ooze squirts, but the just I will just reiterate. I hardly write my stories, and I don't work on my songs quite as intently as in the past. Um,
So we know now, obviously, he has told people about writing stories. And then he's written other stories in his journals, right? There are a few. I know there's one about Chuck Taylor being a serial killer. And for those who are like, why do I know that name? It's because Chuck Taylor, Converse.
yep.
So obviously that
There's
there's no.
um in his journals, there's the one that they used for Montage of Heck, which is about 3 pages long. There's one that is called Critic Goes God. That one is about burning down his house and all of his Charles Bukowski books. Um, there's the one about Chuck Taylor, where it's actually pretty well done, and I
Yeah.
think it's partly autobiographical. Like I think he used himself, and yeah. Anyway, um, there's a lot of himself in that story. I'll put it that way. And then there's also the one about Chris being Novoselic, whose passion was giving seashells and driftwood on burlap potato sacks at the acclaimed Grays Harbor Institute. So it's about like him and Chris, and that one's just like a little micro mini page and a half. But and those are just the ones that I took pictures of because I liked them.
Yeah.
There's numerous other ones in his journals as well.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, he talks about how, like there's another entry in his journals where he talks about, like don't take any of this seriously. Like they're just poems. They're just, my writings. Like it's,
Yeah. I mean, he had this very messy, brilliant brain, and he would like just write nonsense
mhm.
beside words that that were really meaningful. And then I think he
Yeah.
sketched to kind of like soothe his anxiety too. Like I
Yeah,
think when Patrick was talking about the tapes at his house, he was saying, he was just kind of doodling on them as he was sitting there. And, you see all of
yeah,
his doodles. And I think, he also like contradicted himself constantly. I think he was questioning everything. He was a kid, and so
absolutely.
I think,
Um,
people flipping through his unedited grief like that is such a betrayal.
it is.
It's hard to even put that into words. And
Yeah,
then to now use this against him to paint a picture of first of all something he wrote when he was whatever 16, and second of all to then say that this is something he did is just so mind-bogglingly deplorable. It again, it's very hard to express how I feel
yeah.
about it, you
Well, it's
know.
like I want everybody to think about how they would feel if their
Yeah.
innermost thoughts and private
Oh my
ramblings
God.
that they wrote down in a journal that they expected to remain between them and themselves, and
Yeah.
maybe the few people that they ever decide to share those things with, was then published for the entire world to read and make
Yeah.
of what they will.
Yeah.
How
And
embarrassing
then
and
it's put into a
mortifying and
movie.
mm, yeah,
That's even, it's hardcore fans are going to
yeah.
read Kurt's journals, or some won't because they think it's very disrespectful, but a lot of
I
people are going to watch that movie.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they did.
I bought his journals when I was, I don't know, I bought them some years ago, but they sat on my shelf untouched, unread, um, until I started working with you guys on this case. I could not bring myself
Yeah,
to read
yeah.
them.
That's why I
And I
read them
only
too.
read them, yeah, I only read them because I wanted to see if there was anything in there that might be helpful, for the case.
Yeah,
If there was any insights or any little anything that might be beneficial to helping solve his death. But
yeah.
um yeah, I mean, even Frances Bean was totally against it. And I know some people will say, that she was the one that was the producer on Montage of Heck. She afterwards she pulled her support of it. Once
Yeah.
she saw what they did with it
Hmm.
and what it became, she removed herself from it and pulled her support. Um and I'm pretty sure she says that that's Courtney's project, not hers
Did
at
Courtney
this point.
speak to this? Because I recall an interview of her, somebody saying, but that story's not true. And her being like, I know, but like, isn't it, like there's a quote
Um
about that, isn't there?
I believe so. It's
I just want to
I'm not
say too, this is a person who did not just publish her husband's innermost thoughts, she weaponized those against him.
mhm.
And for someone like Kurt, who already felt very invisible, very not seen for who he was as a person, he felt like he was, Kurt Cobain was this. It's kind of like Marilyn Monroe that was the actress, and then Norma Jean Baker Doherty is the person underneath. And I feel like Kurt felt that way too. So he felt very invisible, very misunderstood. And then for her, somebody who should have been the closest to him to do that is a cut could that can never be healed.
Yeah, no, I apparently don't have that one readily at
Okay.
hand here,
We'll
but
find it and post it in the comments, and we'll put it on Patreon as well.
yeah,
Um, so we know that story's a lie. Brett has come out and said, is that his name? Brett Morgan? Or am
Brett
I? Yeah.
Morgan, yep,
Yeah. Just based on that for 2 seconds, we know that he has admitted that it was just a story and it was supposed to be an art piece and was not supposed to make anybody think that Kurt was a sexual predator. However, we know that people do think that because now instead of saying Kurt Cobain was a feminist and fought for LGBTQ plus and all races
had
and
anti-rape songs and
yes,
literally actively stopped sexual inappropriately sexual things at his shows. They're
yeah,
like he
now people are
advocated
calling
for,
him a predator.
yep,
So every possible thing, she took Kurt's life, she took Kurt's baby, and then mistreated that child terribly, and then she made people when you didn't think there was anything more she could do. It's 2015. He's been gone now for 21 years.
31 years.
Yeah, I
71.
mean, oh, sorry, I meant in 2015. But
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it is, you were right to question my math because I know math very well usually. But, so you're thinking 2015, what else could this horrendous human being do to hurt someone? And then there's that. And it's the
There's
final
always
thing.
a new low
There's
with her.
always a new low. Yeah, absolutely. And so, she released Kurt's journals and then she released her own disgusting journals.
Mm.
And um, what do you think about her journals?
Um, I think the ones that she published are to they're for a reason. They are to try and spin a certain tale, um, to make or paint herself a certain way. Because I don't know how much of it is actually genuinely reflective of who Courtney actually is or how she actually feels.
Hmm.
I mean, there is, I think there's just enough in them to come across as authentic, of like her being like, look, this is who I really am, like
Yeah.
she's exposing herself. But
Ugh,
anything that
just the thought of
actually,
that makes me sick.
oh, I know. Well,
And
literally the
unfortunately,
cover of
that's
it.
in montage too, right? Like her
Yes.
exposing herself. Oh.
Thanks for that reminder.
I know, sorry.
Um, um, but I don't. I think it's very performative. Um, I think it was very specifically curated, um, to get across the message that she wanted to get across.
And what do you think that was?
That she's a fun, quirky, neurotic, in a cute way victim, that
Yes,
like, oh, look at me, the poor widow of Kurt Cobain, and um, look at my beautiful baby that I love so much. And
yes. Oh yeah.
it's,
Remind me again, she's on Epstein's list 3 times, isn't she?
mm,
Just
mm-hmm,
just gonna put that out there.
yep,
Yeah, she's so, I mean, everything bad has happened to her. My gosh,
mm,
what a she's never caused
such a
any of it.
victim.
Such a
No,
victim. And that damaged baby doll look that she stole from Kat Bjelland. And I believe somebody said that there was somebody else that also had that sort of image as well at the time. So pardon me if I've missed someone there. I apologize. But that look that she did not create herself, but that she copied from Kat and that Billy Corgan just found so attractive. Oh God, she comes to my door and my girlfriend is there. And I'm just like, she's so hot. Like, what am I gonna do? Just like
yeah,
get
ugh.
eye laser surgery? I don't know.
Right,
Like,
yeah, get your eyes fixed, your brain checked, your
yes.
I don't know. Maybe run
Um,
off and live on an island, just the two of you
oh,
somewhere, so you don't
please.
inflict yourselves on society anymore.
Yes, indeed. And so she's got this is her image that she's trying to curate. Of course, the Nancy Spungen sort of image as well that she, knew Kurt was kind of interested in. So the Frances Farmer, which she could not be further from Frances Farmer. If there are two people
No,
on sides of a pendulum, they could not be further apart.
yeah,
Um,
polar opposites.
yeah, exactly. And so, yes, we know, Courtney, everything's happened to you. Everyone has wronged you. The press has always been against you. It's just because you speak your mind. We know, we get it. So what do you think about the journal entry where she's holding a shotgun? And what do you think
I
about the
don't think that one's real. That one's AI, or
what?
somebody curated it. The shotgun picture?
Yeah, not the newest one, the one that was in the journal.
Oh,
Isn't there one of Kurt's shotgun in the journal?
I don't of her holding a shotgun.
I thought it was close to the one where it looks like the bottom of the I Love You, Francis. There's a picture of a shotgun in there. No? Did I dream that?
No, there's
I'll look it up.
well, what I'm thinking of is there's like a curated somebody edited together a page that
Right. Like
to look like
recently-ish
it
in the
was
last
in.
few. Right.
Yeah, that's like her holding the shotgun, and there's one of the pictures from the greenhouse with like where you can see his foot
Right.
and things
Okay.
like that. And there's like something about how she wants to get Francis a nose job because she's got Hank's nose and all this other stuff. But none of
She
that is
says Hank's
actually in
nose,
the.
not her nose.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
sure.
Um, But sorry, that's what I thought you were talking about, and
Oh,
that's
okay,
not
gotcha.
actually in the diaries or
Right.
journals,
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah, I am not finding it in here either, but I will. I did find a really cute picture of somebody wearing Courtney Love killed Kurt Cobain, though. Um, so, yeah, I mean, there's so many of them. It's amazing.
I
Um,
love that.
it's so great. Anyways, okay, so then there's the journal entry where she talks about Francis, I love you, and it
Mm,
literally looks exactly like the bottom of the alleged suicide note.
yep.
Um, why do you think she put that in her journals? I mean, do you
Um,
think that she thinks people are stupid enough, or is she baiting people?
well, I think she's baiting, and I think she's that cocky. I think she fully believes that she's gotten away with it, and that's her way of saying, haha, look, there's nothing you can do.
Sure. Yeah, I'm so glad she's still alive. It warms my
Mm.
heart, really does. Um, and so what about things like, earlier journal things where she talks about murdering people, their earlier entries. Of course, Hank said she talked about killing a rock star. Um,
So I have Courtney Love, The Lost Poems. This was
oh,
compiled
beautiful.
by Hank, her dad Hank's wife, Catriona. I'm
Okay.
probably
Yep.
totally butchering that. Um, so when I first got this, I went through and I marked the ones that I thought were pretty telling, but all of them are to lesser and greater degrees.
Yeah.
Um, but like this one that says it's called Kill Mom. And they also have it, you probably can't see this, but it's in her handwriting as well,
Ah,
but then they
okay.
also transcribe it.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Um,
Can I just mention something about her handwriting that you and I have discussed quite a lot because as
mhm.
everyone knows, we had to pay for a new handwriting assessment. And in that assessment, what really was so interesting, and people will get to read this at some point when the hopefully in the next month when the peer reviewed paper comes out.